crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. Those are the first words spoken by the Conan character in the 1982 movie Conan the Barbarian. And the phrase, although not 100% original, it does sum what the whole thing is about. Yes, this is what men lived for in those days. Lots of sex and lots of violence. It's a very brutal, almost caveman-like type time period, yeah. Now, not many people had heard of Conan the Barbarian when this film came out, including Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'd never heard of it, yeah. Conan was, there was a book series all about Conan, and there was Conan the Wanderer, Conan the Destroyer, Conan the Cimmerian, and they were written by Robert E. Howard, so that was in the 1930s. Then in the 70s, Marvel Comics did Conan became a comic book character. I think it was called Conan Saga or something like that. So yes, there was a revamp, a reboot of Conan, so Conan was cool again. Nevertheless, he only had a subcult following. He wasn't mainstream, not yet. Yeah, well, this movie helped to make him mainstream. Oh, yeah. After this, there was umpteen Conan computer games. There was a Conan cartoon, Conan the Adventurer, and there was a live action of Conan the Adventurer as well. Yeah. So in other words, yes, this film, or it did more than that. It helped make the sword and sorcery films really popular. Yeah, and it was not the first film Arnold Schwarzenegger starred in, but it was his first hit. So that's why it's a big deal. It was his breakthrough film. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and in my cinema book, it says that this film was released in February of 1983, but I've seen a documentary that claims it was released in the springtime of 1982. So we're ever going to get an accurate, well, more or less 1982. And yes, in the same year, First Blood came out, and that's like Conan. It's a man on hard times, he's lost everything, and there's no one to turn to. You know, he has to be self-sufficient. Except, of course, First Blood is set in the present day, not set thousands of years ago. Oh yes, what year is Conan the Barbarian set in? Well, at first I thought it was Viking times, because the snowy mountains. No, it isn't. No, a totally different time period. It's thousands of years ago, from more or less the year 8000 BC, something like that. It's set in the Hyborian Age, except that era doesn't exist. It was made up by Robert E. Howard. Put simply, it's set in the time before history was written, before they kept documents. Oh yeah, the idea of documenting an event and making it go down in history, no, people didn't keep records like that. Well, most people couldn't read or write. But no, you just needed to know what happened in the last 30 or 40 years, and that's it. You didn't know anything that happened hundreds of years ago, yeah. So, yes, it's set in the time before history was written. So we'll say more or less 6, 7 or 8,000 BC. In other words, we've just started recovering from like the Stone Age type. Yes, human beings are very brutal and very violent, yeah. Oh yes, and a bit of misinterpretation here. When I first saw Conan the Barbarian, I thought it was a secondary world fantasy. Like it's set in a world that doesn't exist, like Narnia or Oz or Middle-earth. Yeah, a place that doesn't exist. Because of the names of the places, Cimmeria, Shadizar and Zamora. I found out years later, no, it takes place on planet Earth. Well, how can that be? Because the names of countries change. That's why, over the centuries, yes. And when a new person rules it, then he changes the name of the country, basically. That's how it works, yeah. So the name of a country depends on what time period you're living in, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the story. Well, it's a very shocking opening sequence. Yes, a load of marauders pillage a village, brutally murder loads of people, smash and destroy the walls of the houses, set fire to the village. It's absolutely brutal. And this is just the opening sequence. Yeah, this is a very violent film, yeah. And I remember when I first saw the film, I thought, well, where are the police? What are the policemen doing about this? There were no police in like the year 8000 BC. No, police didn't exist. So you're doomed. Every now and again, pillagers will destroy your whole way of life. They destroy the village to such an extent that nobody knows that culture even existed. That's why lots of cultures over the centuries have been utterly destroyed, and even the memory of them has gone. So yeah, that's what happened. You utterly wipe out a whole civilization, yeah. Well, they don't kill everyone. No, they don't kill the little boys. They are put on the wheel of pain, including Conan, who naturally enough is very angry that his parents have been murdered, everyone he's ever known destroyed. Now they push the wheel of pain thing. Now, does the wheel of pain, does it grind bits of grain and turn it into flour, so do a useful job? Or is it just an exercise wheel to toughen them up? Yeah, because if you have big, strong slaves, they're good at doing manual labour, so they'll be valuable as slaves. It doesn't clearly specify. All it does clearly specify is if you did hard manual labour like that, hours every day, non-stop, one of two things would happen. You'd either die of exhaustion or you'd get really physically strong. And that's what happens to Conan. It's very dramatic when we see him grown into a young man. Big muscly legs, huge biceps. Yeah, this huge big man of great strength. Yeah. Oh yes, and I have read one of the Conan books, and they do take a few liberties with this. Well, for a start, Conan, no, his parents weren't brutally murdered in front of him when he was a child, no. And he barely ever speaks in this film. He speaks a lot, the original Conan character. Yeah. And he's not a thief or a gladiator. No, he's like a kind of military commander. So it's they do take a lot of liberties with this, but, well, look at it this way. It made the Conan character really famous. So whichever version of Conan you like, each to their own, yeah. The reason he doesn't speak that much is because the makers of the film thought that his Austrian accent would be off-putting to a mainstream audience. So give him a lot less dialogue, and that'll make the accent less off-putting. Ironic, really, because he went on to be a big star and has lots of dialogue in films afterwards. But this is before he was famous, yeah. And apparently the original concept for this film, it was going to be set in the future, like Mad Max, a big barren wasteland, all civilization is destroyed, and he has to fight horrible mutated radiation monsters. But because of budgetary reasons, they decided not to do that, yeah. Didn't that happen in Thundar the Barbarian? That was a cartoon that came out later. I'm not sure. But I do know this much. There would have been no He-Man and the Master of the Universe. The Conan character inspired that. The timing seemed right, yeah. Although that Mattel denies this and says that, no, it's just coincidence. We had this huge, big, muscle-bound figure. Come on. You seriously telling me it's just coincidence? This was this huge mega hit, and at the exact same time, you have muscle-bound heroes, yeah. Anyway, and the fantasy elements were toned down. There are supernatural elements in it, but we don't see that much. They toned it down. This is a different kind of Conan story, yeah. Anyway, in the opening sequence, when Conan's father shows him that fantastic sword that he's made and says, no one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust. The fantastic sword with the Sumerian writing on it. In other words, the ability to fight is imperative in a world of violence where everyone you meet is trying to kill you. Well, not literally everyone, because yes, Conan, he's a slave, then he's a gladiator. Doesn't have fighting skills, but he does have amazing physical strength, so that gives him an advantage. Later, he's sold to like an army, and he's brilliant in a fight. He can help them pillage villages and everything. Then he's given his freedom, and he goes and by chance he finds that sword, the Atlantean sword, clearly hundreds of years old, but it hasn't broken. It's not brittle. He goes, wow, that's amazing. This sword, it's guaranteed for life, or even longer. Yeah, it lasts. So he's humbled by it. He's a barbarian. He doesn't respond to any authority, but he's humbled by this fantastic sword. And he goes, Crom, thank you for giving me this special gift, yeah. Is Crom the god of steel or the god of the earth? I'm not sure. Well, he lives in the earth, but Crom was the keeper of the enigma of steel, so, what the hell, we'll say he's the god of steel, yeah. And then later he makes friends of Subutai. And yes, it's good to have a friend in this place where enemies everywhere. And they have a little chat about different gods they worship. Conan worships Crom. Subutai worships the god of the four winds. And he says, my god is great. He goes, no, my god is greater than yours. Well, both gods are great, just in different ways. And this is symbolic because Conan, he has amazing physical strength. He can hack someone to pieces with a big sword. Subutai does not have amazing physical strength, but he's a really good aim. He's good with bows and arrows. Yeah, so they're both powerful, just in different ways, yeah. And then we meet Valeria, the warrior woman, yeah. A skilled thief, and she joins them. They're a band of thieves. and they steal the ultimate insult. They steal a very precious ruby, the eye of the serpent, of False Doom's troops. Yeah. Are they goodies or baddies? Well, who's going to employ them? No one's going to employ them. They don't know anyone, and there was no money in those days. No, you paid for stuff by swapping jewels or swapping weapons or a fur coat. Yeah. Anyway, King Osric, he wants to employ them. He says, you've got these fantastic fighting skills. Why are you thieves? Why waste your skills on such pettiness? Do something really useful with your skills. So he says, if you steal my daughter back, you can have lots and lots of jewels, Subutai and Valeria don't want to do this. They say, how can 3 of us possibly fight an entire army? Yeah. But Conan is like, I'll do it alone if I have to, because revenge. Yes, he wants revenge for the death of his parents, yeah. And he disguises himself as a priest. That's a clever idea, because if you get close to False Doom, he'll trust you if you're a priest, and then he can kill him. But they rumble him, and then False Doom wants to speak to him, and he says the riddle of steel. In his opinion, steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. What is the sword hilt compared to the hand that wields it? Yes, the power of flesh is stronger than anything. Well, that's true to an extent. Yes, swords can break, but then human flesh and human bones, they can break as well. I think it's a team effort, yes. There's the bone, flesh and steel are both very strong. And much, much later in the story, we see, yes, Conan has a fight with the second in command, so Rexor, and Conan breaks his sword, cuts it in half. So, yes, steel can break, yeah, because he has such a strong arm, yeah. And very, very sadly, okay, spoiler alert, Valeria dies. She has a light sword and can move really, really fast. That's her fighting skill. So as I said before, they're all powerful just in different ways, have great fighting skills. And yes, it's very, very sad. And Conan, instead of that slave symbol necklace, he takes that off and puts the ruby tied around the necklace instead, so that he'll always remember her. Because the first present he gave Valeria was a ruby. And the ghost of Valeria helps him briefly. Yeah, he gets help from her. There's an epic battle, 2 stood against many, yes, and it's very clever how Subutai and Conan, although they're outnumbered, they have lots of traps waiting for them, yeah, so they use their brains as well as brawn, yes. And the other thing was, at the end of the film, gets a bit of criticism because, you see, the fans of the film, they say, well, why wasn't there an epic battle? When he kills False Doom, it's rather easy, But we've just seen an epic battle, Yeah, so this is fighting of a different kind. Conan corners False Doom. He can't possibly get away. He sort of sweet talks his way out of it and says, what will you do after I'm dead? Your whole life has been about getting me. How will you live without me? And Conan chops his head off, shows it to all his followers, saying he's not a god, he can't give you eternal life. How can he when he's not immortal himself? Yeah. So that's revenge, the ultimate revenge story, yeah. Okay, I'll wrap this up by saying Conan the Barbarian was revolutionary for this brutal story, but it made it into the mainstream. Yeah, that's special. And for the first time ever, a big muscle man was a film star, the lead in a film. That hadn't happened before, yeah. So it's revolutionary. It changes things. It shows that a big muscle man can be a star, and you can have an Austrian accent and be a star. So it's special in many ways. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.